Can I sue them for false advertisements? I mean, this wasn't the genre I was promised. Hello, sisters. My name is Daidarius, and welcome to the review of Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary is an adaptation of Stephen King's book called Pet Sematary, I guess. And starts this family who's moving to this outskirts town where in their backyard there is a pet cemetery. Or I should say they have a forest as a backyard, and in that backyard there is this weird place, this weird pet cemetery thing. Anywho, the little daughter's cat gets killed or run over by a car, so the father needs to bury this cat in the pet cemetery. However, because this pet cemetery is a very weird place, the cat gets resurrected and is now a cat zombie, and it's behaving weird. It's not itself, it's just strange. And nevertheless, if you haven't seen this trailer, you don't want to get spoiled. I mean, are you planning on seeing this movie? Really? Nevertheless, at some point, the daughter gets killed in a traffic accident, and then the father gets a bright idea. If you can revive pets using the cemetery, maybe then you have a horror movie, I guess. That is pretty much this movie, because this movie has basically no plot. Does it have? Okay, the plot is as follows. The father is a doctor, which is pretty important, I guess, because that means he can work in the school, and he sees a kid getting killed. In the meantime, the wife has a backstory with her older sister, now dead older sister, and that is important because that gets into play a lot throughout this movie as a horror element aspect of it. And the daughter befriends the neighbor Judge, and she likes her cat, and she's saddened that the cat is dead, and then it's not dead. And then you get this introduction to the pet cemetery. There's some kids who are burying, I think it's a dog, I can't really remember, but I guess it's a dog, and they're wearing weird masks. You're never getting explained what's the deal with the weird mask. But anyway, they bury this dog in the pet cemetery, and then that's it. That is what all you need to know about the pet cemetery for a fucking long time. Then the cat dies, then they resurrect it using the pet cemetery, and then weird shit happens. Then some weird shit with the wife happens that is unrelated to the pet cemetery thing. Nonetheless, they kind of want to move back, but then the kid died, so then he tries to resurrect, then they wants to, and his shit just hit the fan at that point, and I don't know why I'm explaining the plot to you twice, but apparently I am. Nonetheless, what did I like about this movie? Well, the first two acts, the first 1.5 act of this movie is decent. I mean, it sets up the story, it sets up the interesting plot points with the pet cemetery. It kind of tries to give you the lore throughout some bits and bytes during the duration of this movie, and it kind of works when it tries to focus on that aspect. However, this movie tries to focus on a lot of aspects, so that gets kind of shoved to the side. But for the plot build-up, I think that this movie is doing a kind of decent job at it, but other than that, it's no, not really. And then there's the acting. The acting for some parts is okay. I mean, I like the Judge character. The actor who's portraying him, I can't remember his name, that is this man right here. He's doing a fine job. I mean, he doesn't really do a bad job throughout this movie. He's just doing a decent job. And you kind of attach yourself to Judge, because Judge has some past. I mean, it's not a terrible past, but you do get a feeling that he is troubled by this place, and that he knows something he wished he didn't know about the pet cemetery, and he just wishes all the best for this new family. And the daughter at some points was fine, I guess. I mean, didn't hate her, and normally I don't like child actors because they don't do good job most of the time. Unless you get a decent child actor and a great director, you can make movie magic, but besides that, no. However, she did a good job, and I kind of liked the character. Kinda. I mean, she seemed nice. And just the feel at the Pet Cemetery was also quite creepy. I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time at the Pet Cemetery, but the Pet Cemetery in itself, it was okay presented. So it has that going for it, which is nice. Besides that, I don't really have that much more positive things to say about this movie. I think that the scene where the kid died was well done, given the fact that I cut off all the audio, so all you was left with was just the parents' reaction to the kid being killed by this traffic accident. That was actually well handled. I props for that. That was a good, almost great scene. And then I liked like when the movie ended. Okay, let's talk about what I didn't like about this movie, because it's pretty much the rest of it. First of all, the story is... it's not good. I mean, it's not good at all. And I haven't read Pet Sematary, so I can't say if it followed that book directly or faithfully. But nonetheless, this movie's plot is a fucking mess. As I said before, it establishes the premise of this movie quite well in the beginning. I mean, the family moves to this town. The husband's trying to do his job, and he's trying to distance himself from the troublesome and hectic city life that he was used to before, and he tries to spend more time with his family. Then you have the mother, who is just going through some weird shit because she's remembering stuff about her older sister that has nothing, absolutely fucking nothing to do with the movie or the plot at all. It's just there to fill time, and it has its quota of it needs to be scary because this is a horror movie, so we need some scary shit, and the only scary shit you have is the scenes with her and the older sister. It's weird. And then the movie just spends a fuck ton of time doing nothing. It just tries to make sure that Judd is integrated well into this little family. It also wants to integrate the cat into this family well and just into the story. And then when it kills off the cat, it wants to reintegrate this cat in a different way into the story. And at no time are you even getting any interesting points from the Pet Cemetery aspect of this movie. The movie is called Pet Cemetery, but it doesn't want to focus on the fucking Pet Cemetery. It kind of gives you a little bit of information in the beginning and then later on, but that is pretty much it. Other than that, this Pet Cemetery just plays no role in this movie. You even have a character called the Wendigo explained or kind of dumped into the movie at some point, or not dumped. The Wendigo is not dumped, just the name Wendigo is dumped into this movie, and then it is used, not at all, it's never used again. I mean, they even kind of set up that the Wendigo is going to play a major part in this movie, but then they just fucking forget it. And then there's the pace, the pacing. The pacing is a weird thing in this movie, because the movie is using a slow crawler in the beginning, and I understand that this is a horror movie. You need a slow start. You need to establish the characters. You need to establish the premise. You need to establish the establishment. And then slow you build up the horror aspect, and then it's gonna cap off in a big finale that is just gonna be extremely creepy and, you know, horrific. However, this movie's pace in the first two acts is kind of clunky. Then they focus on the Pet Cemetery aspect of it, and then they focus on the family aspect, and they need to try and establish themselves there and integrate themselves into this new setting. And then it just tries to focus on how this family is doing among themselves and among each other and how their relationship is. And then it tries to focus again on the Pet Cemetery thing, because now the cat has died and needs to be resurrected. And then this kid gets sad, and then they need to focus on the birth. This movie focuses on a lot of things, and every time it does, the movie comes to an abrupt halt. It just stops complete, and you need to get the movie going again slowly, and you just get these bumps around the road. Good thing is that these are consistent. I mean, you expect them, then you kind of get to know them. Then you get to the third act, and then this movie just does a bunch of cocaine brewed coffee brewed on Red Bull and then just injected right directly into the brain or something like that. It's completely insane. It goes into fucking overdrive. Then this movie just needs to wrap up what I guess is 80% of this movie in 20 minutes time span. It is in fucking insane. So you're just sitting there, you're kind of getting into the climax, then the movie's ended, and you just go, what? I have never seen anything like that. I mean, Surrogates was kind of like that, but this is just on a whole other level. Holy shit, does this movie need to finish up quickly. Jesus. I mean, I appreciate it because that means I could get out of the movie beforehand, but still. Which brings me to the horror aspect. This movie is advertised as a horror movie, but you only get, maybe 3 or 4 scenes that kind of cannot be identified as horror scenes, but they're not scary. I mean, some of them is kind of creepy in an atmospheric term, but other than that, no. I mean, you have a little kid. Little kids in movies can be scary, except when you're talking about physical terror. If a little kid attacks you, it is not scary. I don't care. You can just pick this little shit up in your straight out arm and they can just dangle there and do fucking nothing. You can toss them around, you can beat their ass all day long. But no, this little girl is coming for you. She's not having any weapons, just coming for you. And that is terrifying. Apparently. I get the idea this is their daughter we're talking about. But then again, the mother doesn't really think of that person as her daughter because her daughter died and this is the demonic shithole. It is not terrifying. Sinister 2 did the same fucking thing and you're not terrified, you're just laughing at it. And the movie didn't want you to laugh, it wanted you to be terrified and want to be scared. But you're not, because this movie is bad. Which means you're not seeing a horror movie anymore, you're seeing a movie with an identity crisis because it doesn't know what it wants to be. Does it want to be a horror movie? Does it want to be a kind of thriller movie? Does it want to be some kind of mind piece? Does it want to be some family dynamic thingy? Which brings me to the ending. I mean, I shouldn't spoil it for you. I'm not gonna spoil it for you. But the movie thinks it's gonna do a classic horror movie ending, which is gonna terrify you. But it doesn't. It's just fucking obvious and it is nothing. The movie's ending is nothing. I just went, really? Really? You know, it's hard to complain about something when I can't spoil it for you. Just the movie's ending is just it's just all around. Which neatly sums up this movie. This movie is just bad. The pacing is bad. The acting is for the most part beneath average and decent. The story is pretty much non-existent. I mean, it doesn't try anything to just engulf you and intrigue you with the story. We need stuff to happen so we can get to the Pet Sematary thing, but when we get to the Pet Sematary thing, we don't want to focus on the Pet Sematary. We don't want to explain any lore, even though that we kinda intrigue you in the beginning with bits and bytes of lore, but we don't want to focus too much on it, you know. The horror aspect of this movie is non-existent. I mean, it does use some scenes that can be classified as horror scenes, but as to terrifying you and scare you, no, not at all. Not at fucking all. And then the pace picks up too much at the end. I mean, wow! So all in all, what you have is just another adaptation of a Stephen King book that's just fucking bad. And I will say that the Pet Sematary, or just Pet Sematary, is a waste of time. I'm not having a good streak with horror movies lately. Nope. I'm not. So, Pet Sematary, have you seen it? What did you think about it? And do you agree with me, or do you disagree with me and actually like the movie as a horror movie, or just like the movie just in general? If you do, and good for you, but if you do, I would like to comment below why you liked it and what you disagree with me about, because this movie just didn't really do it for me. Just, no. But, nonetheless, whatever you think, comment below me your thoughts. And as always, until I see you in the next movie, remember to stay awesome. Bye! You know, I should have some clever anecdote for the end of this review, but I haven't, because this movie just crushed my soul. It was...